The best way to do this next part of the training is to have this video open in one tab while following along in another tab. We're going to quickly set up a teacher account. So the easiest way to do this is to split your screen. On a Windows device, that means on your keyboard, you're going to hit the start button and use your arrow keys. So that means to move this screen to the left, I'm going to hit the start key and the left arrow, and it's going to bounce over. It'll give me an option of these are the other tabs that I have open. So I'm going to open up a tab with Google in the right side. On a Mac, you're going to hit Control, Command, and the F button, right? And you can do that in a very similar manner. The other way on Mac is to click and hold down on the full screen button in the upper left corner. When you hold that button, the window shrinks, so you can drag it to the left or the right of the screen. So in your new window, go to Classcraft using the link in the description. Once you set it up, you are going to be able to get to Classcraft by also going to classcraft.com. So we're going to go ahead and follow that link, and it will take us to the sign in page. I find that signing in with Google works best for me and my students, but that's because we have Google Apps for Education. So choose whichever method of signing up is going to be easiest and make the most sense for you. If you do sign up with Google, Google is going to ask to access your Google Classroom account. And whether you have a Google Classroom account or not, you still have to give it permission. There are a lot of really cool integrations between Classcraft and Google Classroom, but since that isn't a tool that all schools use, I will be staying away from that for the sake of this training. So just click allow and we'll be ready to get started. So Classcraft has some really great tutorials, and this intro piece models what a student quest will look like. So I encourage you to pause this video to read through and actively participate in the tutorial. So again, when you did this tutorial, you were on a quest. There was an introduction, then a learning path connecting to the next objective. Classcraft drops learning objectives into the frame of a fantasy story. You can either write these stories yourself or get a blank one from the marketplace, which I will explain in the Make Your First Quest video. After each piece of the story, there's a task to be completed. Sometimes these tasks are simple look tasks, like the example. Sometimes they're more active, requiring participation by completing an assignment or contributing to a discussion. Once a task is marked complete, Classcraft unlocks the next task. The final task in a quest line is marked with a trophy icon and allows students to mark the quest as complete. This home landing page has a ton of really great resources, and I really recommend you explore them if you choose to use Classcraft in your classroom. The most valuable for me was this demo class. For example, I went in under middle school PBIS because that's what made the most sense for my goals and my school. And your goals might be different. When I create a demo class, you'll see that it lists all of my students over here on the left. You can look at them based on the teams that they are on, which sorts it for you, or you can go to a more data-driven list. In the main section of your screen, you're able to look at the kids one at a time. So you have, for example, the student Wilmer. Wilmer's character is a level 2 mage right now. So there are 3 different types of characters in the game, which we'll get into in just a minute. But for right now, you can see that Wilmer has 23 of his 30 possible health points. This means that at some point he lost some of his health points. You can see that he has 28 of the 50 possible action points. Action points are what allow students to use their special powers, which are listed down here. Action points reset at midnight every night, so students can choose to use as many or as few of them as they would like each day. This third line here are the experience points. And as you earn more experience points, your character can level up. The leveling up is what has allowed Wilmer to unlock some of these impressive looking gear add-ons. The bottom line here is gold points or gold pieces. In the free version of the game, the only way to get gold points is to have parent interaction. And we'll talk about parent interaction in my parent accounts video. In the teacher view, you have these buttons down here which allow you to customize the student experience. So perhaps Wilmer's in class and he's following your directions beautifully. So maybe you want to give him some experience points. On the other hand, maybe 10 minutes later, he's being rude to one of his classmates and we want to take away some health points. The game is really well balanced and well organized. So what happens is it has a list of any of his teammates that could help him. So Wilmer is on a team where there's nobody ready to heal him at this time, so he has to take the damage. For example, however, if we talk to Greg for a moment, and Greg is the one that Wilmer was arguing with, so he is also losing health points. There are two of his team members that can choose to protect him. So when I'm using this in class, I look at the student and I say, hey, your teammate is about to lose some health points. Would you like to protect them? And the student may say, yes, I'll protect, and spend action points to help their classmate. On the other hand, maybe it's the fourth or fifth time that Greg has gotten in trouble for arguing, and the classmate and teammate is no longer willing to help them. And then they say, no, I'm not protecting them at this time. So we're going to say that Eldon is going to protect Greg, and you'll see here that he spends 10 action points, but gains 100 experience points by using his power. So we'll go back to Wilmer here, and perhaps Wilmer is having a really just terrible day, and now he's not being safe. He's running with scissors, or he's not following lab safety. And so he loses 15 health points, which takes him to 0 health points. When he loses all of his health points, he will die. So for the sake of argument, he's falling in battle. So what happens is the game gives Wilmer an item from the Book of Laments. So the Book of Laments is the game interface. This is list of possible punishments. The game automatically selects it, and you, the teacher, have preset the list of options that it's going to choose from. In addition, all of Wilmer's teammates will lose health points. And for most characters, this isn't a super big deal. You can see here that Nestor is not worried, Frida's not worried, but Charisse has been on edge as well. So Charisse is a little concerned. So now, as a teacher, you have a choice here. You can deal with the damage later. Maybe I'm looking at this and I'm going, that's going to take too long. I'm in the middle of direct instruction. I don't want this to interrupt what I'm doing. And you can click deal with it later. And basically it drops it into a list that you can go look at when you have time. But because we're just doing a tutorial here, we're going to go ahead and apply the damage. And it tells us there's no one to protect Charisse, so she also has to accept her face. So what happens is the game puts them both back down to 1 health point. Now, there are a couple of different ways to handle this. I approach this in a way that until Wilmer completes his sentence, until he does this, he can't play the game. And I usually like to start my players off with a few extra health points just in case. So I might go in by clicking that plus minus button right here and giving him 5 health points for completing his sentence. As the teacher, I'm going to check it off to say he's done it, and Wilmer can continue with regular gameplay.